podcast like it. Just podcast like it. Podcast like it's 1999. Podcast like it. You want a podcast like it? Podcast like it's 1999. Podcast like it. Just podcast like it. Podcast like it's 1999. Podcast like it. You want a podcast like it? 1999.
Hello and welcome to Podcast Like It's 2009, the podcast where we talk about the films of 2009 from an Estonian mental institution here in 2022. I'm one of your hosts, Kenny Neibart.
And I'm Phil Iscove.
And back with us are the best guests you can get. Barrett, Danielle Savre, so good to have you guys back.
It's
Back
good
for
to
a
be
horror
back.
movie. Back for another horror movie. Because
Back for a real scare fest.
I mean, is this movie scary? Were you scared by this film, Danielle? Because I know that you have the lowest
It's more
bar of the three of us,
disturbing.
probably.
It's more disturbing. Did you say I have
Yeah.
the lowest bar?
I mean, I'm a big baby too, but I do feel like you and I are
Yes.
probably on par when it comes to like not liking scary movies. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. When I was like, oh, I have to watch this. I had like all the lights on, the whole thing.
Right,
And it wasn't
right.
scary. It was more like psychological, but it was also really messed
Upsetting.
up.
yes,
Upsetting. Like the entire time until the end, when there was a little explanation, I was like, at first, at one point, I was like, this is all in her head. Esther doesn't exist. Because I was like, that's the only way that this can make sense. Because
then-
we're talking about a child and a grown man.
but are we?
No, well, yeah, then we aren't. And then I was like, okay. But still, I was tempted and I didn't to go look up like the actress's actual age.
Sure.
Because I was
sure.
like, if I was filming
Fucked.
this,
Yeah.
if I was Peter Sarsgaard, I was like, that would have been so uncomfortable.
And
Yeah.
apparently, the other versions of the script went much, much farther sexually.
This is what I told Phil was this is an erotic thriller starring a child.
A literal 12-year-old.
A child. It has the beats of an erotic thriller. It's like single white female.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of, it's like Basic Instinct. It's that
Yes,
same kind of vibe. But look, I think this movie's incredible, guys.
I kind of do too.
I fucking I
slaps.
love this film. It does. It slaps very hard. And
I don't know why I didn't take that the right way.
part of it is that it's so uncomfortable. Like it's like the kind of movie that if it was an 80s B horror film would be a fucking it kind of is a classic. Like I do think it is classic now, but it would be like one of those movies would be like the director of this is a genius, the writer of this is a genius, everybody's a genius. And I think it's an amazing fucking film.
It goes to like, no, I agree 100%. It goes to places. So I saw it in the theater. I think you did too, Kenny, right? In 09.
with my
and-
10-year-old nephew, like an amazing uncle.
But like the best uncle there
Are
is.
you sure he was 10 years old, though?
Yeah. But I remember sitting in the theater and just being like, this movie's going to places that is surprising for like a horror film that could have just kind of played it right down the middle and just sort of played it for shock value. Like the Vera Farmiga character is a lot richer and a lot more complex than these heroes, whatever you want to call them, of these horror films usually are. I mean, part of it is that Vera Farmiga is a very good actor. On top of everything else, she's bringing a lot to it.
Can I just say
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of hers. I mean, she is for my money, she is the horror movie like queen
Sure.
currently, even
You're a
though
Conjuring fan?
yeah, I'm a huge Conjuring fan. I mean, I'm a big horror movie fan,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
And I've seen this before, but I hadn't. And I feel like I watched it all the way through once, and then like a long time ago, and then I watched it again probably when it was on TV at some point because I remember only catching pieces of it, and then to rewatch it again. And I mean, that movie, the way that movie starts is like,
Yeah.
oh shit!
It goes there at the beginning.
I mean, we're talking about this for you guys at 8 a.m. and it's 11:19 for me, and it's too much to be talking full miscarriage nightmare in the middle of the morning. Like it's really scary. But just to say, Vera Farmiga is like one of the best best actresses in horror movies working right now. She's
I've
so
never seen the
spectacular.
Conjuring films because, as I mentioned, I'm a big baby, so I don't watch movies that actually might scare me.
I haven't either because they haven't appealed to me.
But I hear they're
Are
great.
they appealing?
The first one, the original, with Lily, God, what's her name?
Yeah, fuck. Hold on.
It's Patrick Wilson.
It's Patrick Wilson.
And Vera Farmiga, but the
Lily
case-
Taylor. Lily Taylor.
Yes, Lily Taylor. It is so good and it is so scary and it holds up every single time. It freaks me out, but it's so wonderful.
Then I'll never watch
It's
it.
like,
But I.
I'll never
so
watch
good.
it. I'll never watch it.
But Kenny, you might love them.
I'll watch it. I mean,
it's how James Wan got his like bona fides.
I'm always one of our great Australian filmmakers. I always
Aquaman, baby.
I always am looking for new movies to watch with my son who loves horror movies. So I think that feels like maybe too far, Barrett. What do you think?
I mean,
he's now 10, so he's of the orphan age for me.
I mean, it's scary. I would say that if I had seen it when I was 10, it would have totally destroyed me.
Okay.
It's
Remember
really
the time you were watching Mussolini, Tea with Mussolini?
yeah. I was not prepared for Conjuring movies.
Oh my
but
God.
I think that it is also like thrilling and it holds up. All of the sequels, I've seen all of them and none of them even come close.
Interesting. They're so fucking successful. People love the series.
Yes, they do.
I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it now.
But yeah, you should watch it. It's
I'm gonna watch it with
first
my son.
one
I'm
is
not gonna
really
heed your
good.
advice. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let me know how it goes.
I think that so we did another film with Vera Farmiga, Up in the Air, which is her other 2009 movie. And she's very good in that film, even if I feel like, and we discussed this on the episode, that the character kind of gets screwed at the end in terms of seeming like this horrible monster person that's been like playing George Clooney the entire time. But she's still very, very good in the movie. And she makes a somewhat perhaps unbelievable turn seem believable. In this movie, she's
very good in that movie.
Yeah. And in this, she also she's really bringing it in this movie. A movie that I imagine other actors might not.
So I have a question for you actors. Have you guys been in like proper horror movies? You have.
Yes.
She has. I have.
What is the this is like, all right, so I've worked on some crappy stuff. Don't tell anyone I've worked with.
Okay.
And I almost never go into said crappy. I never go into said crappy stuff and I'm like, this is crappy. But so I probably know the answer to this. But how do you approach something that you know is a horror movie that where the appeal for the audience is probably not going to be your performance. It's probably going to be, scares and thrills and that kind of stuff. How do you approach that? Because I'm just thinking about Vera Farmiga this year. She has Up in the Air, which is Oscar bait, and she was nominated for it. And she has the Orphan, or just Orphan, excuse me, drop the, which is a pretty classic down the middle horror movie, a thriller movie. But I mean, I would argue she's better in an Orphan. I mean, I think it's an incredible performance. How do you approach that? Like genre?
I think Barrett would agree with this, even though she's never even done a horror film, is you're not thinking about it as a horror film. You're just thinking of it from a character base and a story base, and you have to believe it. If you don't believe it, how is the audience ever going to believe it? And then most in horror films, in my experience, the scares and the jumps come from more of the editing, the sound design, the like how the camera shots are done. Like I had some gore in my film, so then that added to it. But like I myself would get scared, which I had to believe I was scared of the boogeyman, but like I had to believe it. So I think Vera Farmiga did exactly that. Like she's so good and she's so believable in this role that like she elevated a horror film into like a thriller kind of
Can
genre.
I ask a stupid question to both of you, which I don't think I've ever asked?
Question.
Well, it might be a stupid question, but
mine was pretty stupid.
Yours was not stupid.
Yours was not stupid.
And this does tie into what we're talking about. But like as actors, do you ever think about tone? Like I say that in the sense that like if you're locked into a character, right, and you feel like you're living in the skin of that character, the tone of the piece that you're in might not necessarily play into that. But do you think about, because like
I want you to know something.
Yeah,
I think this is an excellent question.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Because like a horror film is the most dialed up, right? And if you're too dialed up, then the tone is fucked. So like, just curious.
Fair, how do you? I mean, I don't think I think of the tone. I just think of like, this is a horror film. It's not a comedy, so I'm not gonna like play the scenes a certain. You know what I mean? I'm gonna play the scenes. Right. I'm gonna play into what's on the page.
I think it feels more like a pace thing, and I think that also comes from the director. I think the biggest thing, like Danielle said, is committing to whatever your action is. You kind of have to be super clear about what you're doing. You know, I mean, you can trick your body into believing almost anything if you commit to it. Like it always, like even thinking about Kenny's question too, like. When I was a kid playing tag on the playground, there were moments when like I got genuinely scared, you know, that like fight or flight instinct that kicks in when you're like, someone's coming at you and you know, so like, even if there's 1,000 cameras and it, you know, the lights are there in your face and you can see everything and someone's yelling action at you, like, and leading you through. I mean, I imagine that some of those scenes were almost MOS, you know, like where she's just saying like, okay, now you look around the corner and now someone's in her, you know, yelling out directions. You just kind of have to buy into the fantasy, you know.
Isn't that what's fun as an actor though? Yeah. Is like we literally get to delve into like these roles and believe what we're actually doing.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
It's
tone.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, please. I think tone is that's a good question. And I think Danielle answered it like perfectly. I think that like, if you know that you're doing a horror movie, you know that it's going to be a lot of, you have to trust the writing, but you also have to know that like pace is going to be a huge thing.
Sure.
Building you know, the intensity of what you're saying, you just have to, I don't know.
I also wouldn't, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like so much of this falls on the director to explain, you know, what he or she has in mind.
Yeah.
Because I think there's this thing where on the internet or whatever, people talk about an actor, you know, understanding the movie they're in or understanding the assignment. And without the direction of a director, I think that's almost impossible. Right? Yeah. To understand if what you're doing on the page is a satire or a straight horror, if it's elevated or if it's grimy, if it's going to be, you know, cut together like a music video, or if it's going to be cut together kind of like, you know, a 70s Roman Polanski, excuse the reference, horror film. So I think that, and I don't know how to say his first name. Is it Jamais?
I think it's Jamais. The director.
Jamais?
Yes.
Colette
Sarah. Yeah.
He's I've seen like 6 or 4 or 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I fucking love this guy.
He's great. Yeah.
I love his movies. I even love the fucking shitty Liam Neeson one he did. I think he just knows what he's doing.
He did 2 shitty Liam
Nonstop.
I think he did several. Yeah, I looked them up.
Nonstop and Unknown. I love them both.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
Jungle Cruise was fun.
Yeah. And I think Shallow is amazing.
Yeah, Shallow's great. Yeah.
And
House of Wax looks great. Yeah.
I think this is incredible. I think House of Wax is
House of Wax
is an interesting one because House of Wax is fantastic, but House of Wax is a lot of like, you know, it succeeds because I think the actors understand his vision going into it. Yep. And this also succeeds because I think as ridiculous as the premise is, because in the final analysis, it's ridiculous.
It's true.
It's never ridiculous to Vera and Peter Sarsgaard. You know, or even those child actors.
I think they made it. I think that's because he didn't direct it like a horror movie. He directed it like the movie you described, Kenny. He directed it as an erotic thriller.
I know.
And like, so it like felt, if it had been directed in a different way, it absolutely would have felt cornier or more ridiculous. But we bought into it because he was directing it like it was a story about an affair. Like,
it feels like an Adrian Lyne movie.
Down to the like brilliant fucking production design.
Yes.
Like setting it in one of those modern houses where all the erotic thrillers are set. Like he is something else. He really is.
He really is. It's a very stylish movie. Immediately. I mean, Barrett referred to the opening which is a nightmare that Kate is having about the stillborn birth of her child, which, I mean, they really go all in on in terms of just.
That was such a good opening.
It's a really
It was
great
so
horror
good.
opening. Like, it's
Like, I
very
immediately was
stylish.
like, okay.
It's really, really well done. And it's interesting too, because it's very sort of it's so overtly stylish that you are kind of like, is this real? Is this not real? Because it's a horror movie, you're like, I guess this is just how it's starting. And then he continues to have
Dr.
a very
Giggles. You know, I've seen that play out. I've seen it look like that and be real.
Yeah, it's really
or Dead Ringers for that matter.
Oh, Dead Ringers. Yes. So yeah, it's very well directed. And again, like the casting of Vera Farmiga and Peter Sarsgaard, so Isabel Fuhrman, who plays Esther / Lena,
Lena.
That's the name
her real
of the
name
character.
is Lena.
Her real name's Lena.
I didn't catch that. Okay.
Is pretty unbelievable. I mean, she apparently, so she auditioned for the role wearing an old-fashioned dress with ribbons and things around her wrists and neck. And she studied the performances of Glenn Close in Dangerous Liaisons and Anthony Hopkins in The Silence of the Lambs to prepare for the role. So, like, she fucking brought it.
Yeah.
That's my big fucking takeaway as like a grown-up now is, holy shit, this is some incredible work. Just
Right?
incredible work. Like the breadth of that performance, the depth in that performance, the menace, the sweetness. I mean, she really does have to pull off like sweetness in the beginning too, and intelligence. And she's still a working actress.
She is.
Isabel Fuhrman, and she's going
to be in the sequel or the prequel that they're doing.
Yes, but she does a lot of stuff now, and like, thank God, because obviously she's preternaturally talented. But
I'm looking at the Best Actress nominees from 2009, and there's a part of me that really wishes Isabel Fuhrman was nominated for this role. I know it's too
well,
like whatever,
Phil,
but I'm just saying.
When we do our 2009,
she'll be in our Best Actress for sure.
Well, not mine because she's a supporting actor, but still,
boy. We're gonna have this.
But she'll make the list, I think.
I mean, listen, even if I would have put her in Best Supporting as well, she's very, very good in this, and I understand.
Not because she's a kid, but because she's the villain, and she's
in a horror movie, and people don't respect horror movies.
Yeah, no, but I mean, Vera is given a lead performance like to the tilt.
Yes.
But that's not, to me, that's not a lead performance. That's a supporting performance. But whatever. It's an incredible piece of work.
Let me give a quick synopsis for the people that have not seen this film. Devastated by the loss of their unborn child, Kate, played by Vera Farmiga, and John, played by Peter Sarsgaard, decide to adopt a child. At the orphanage, both feel drawn to a little girl, Isabel Fuhrman, named Esther, and soon the couple take their new daughter home. But when a dangerous series of events unfold, Kate begins to suspect there's something evil lurking beneath the child's angelic exterior. Orphan opened on July 24th against G-Force, The Ugly Truth, and Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. It would go on to make $78 million on a $20 million budget. It's got 53% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, 63% from audiences. Roger Ebert gave the film 3.5 out of 4 stars. After seeing Orphan,
that's right.
I now realize that Damien of the Omen was a model child. The demon seed was a bumper crop. Rosemary would have been happy to have this baby. Here is a shamelessly effective horror film based on the most diabolical movie malefactors, a child. Orphan hinges on a classic thriller device, the heroine who knows the truth and insists on it even though everyone is convinced she's mad and wants to ship her off to rehab or even a mental institution. It's frustrating to know you're right when no one can see the truth and you find it so obvious. The climax is rather startling, combining the logic of the situation with an audacity and exploiting its terror. You have to hand it to Orphan. You want a good horror film about a child from hell, you got one. Do not under any circumstances take children to see this. Take my word on it. Kenny obviously did not heed that warning.
Don't give a shit.
Don't care. So let's just talk about the twist right now, because I feel like we should. It's based on a real story. first and foremost. So it's based on, it was inspired by a 2008 media coverage of a 34-year-old woman named Barbara Skurlova, an orphan who abused her first adopted family, ran away from the police, was caught, and was eventually found impersonating Adam, a 13-year-old boy who had gone missing. So obviously, you know, they didn't stick to the quote unquote facts of this story, but the twist of this film is crazy in the best way, but also, so you did not see this coming, Danielle, correct?
No.
Did you know, Kenny, going in that she was an adult?
I'm 99%. Oh, I didn't know going in. I'm positive I didn't know going in.
Yeah.
And I am 99% sure I had absolutely no idea.
I had no idea. Did you, Barrett?
No, when I saw it, I was going to ask, I mean, obviously this was not the first time I'd seen it, but I remember when I saw it first, I assumed there was something supernatural going on.
Right. I assumed that, I mean, listen, obviously you see enough horror films, you know, something's up. Like it's, you're not really sure what it is. And I do think that Isabel's performance does, to your point, Barrett, kind of feel like maybe, is there time travel? Is there something going on?
Well,
that,
the little
you know,
outfits, I think, is what,
yes,
the hair and the ribbons and the old fashioned, I mean, even in 2009, 30 whatever year olds are not into that necessarily. So it just, it was sort of like suggesting that there was some sort of out of time issue that she was having.
It feels cultural to some degree, where you're just like, oh, she's Russian.
You can accept it. I accept it.
Sure. Yeah.
But then as things
You said it was okay to be different, she says.
Yeah.
Well, and also, I mean, it feels like the first kind of shoe to drop, or at least the first sort of conspicuous thing, is when Isabel sees them fucking in the kitchen. And then the next morning, Vera tries to like explain, you know, what sex is, and she's like, "Oh, I know, they fuck," and it's just like, okay.
Look, that's the one thing that I was just like, come on, guys, you don't have to fuck in the kitchen in your house without doors.
Well, I was thinking as parents, you just gotta be like,
you have kids, Kenny. How do you feel about that scene?
Yeah, does that seem believable to you?
No, it's so irresponsible. It's so irresponsible. It's just again, this house has no walls, right? So you don't have to do that. You just don't have to do that. So that's like, that was a little bit of a snooze fest.
Can I just say though, I think I think they were both so good in that scene. I mean, they were really good together the whole movie. Yes. But like, I was realizing when I was watching it, I like wanted, I mean, even though I was mad at Peter Sarsgaard, I like wanted their relationship to work out. I like wanted them to find each other, and they were so flirty and sexy with each other that I was also like, "Oh, go for it, go ahead."
No, I totally agree with Barrett. First of all, the scene's very well directed and acted in the way that it gets there. In the sense that I agree with what you're saying, Kenny. As it's happening, you're like, Esther's going to see you guys.
They're very sexy together. They really are. And
they're very sexy together, but it's also the slow build to it. Like she says no, and it's kind of, and it's just sort of this cat and mouse that they do over the course of a good minute and a half that is good direction and good acting. And like, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, a shittier version would have been they just go to it and you just be like, why are you doing this? But slowly seeing their attraction build towards one another made me buy it.
Same.
But I agree with you, Kenny. If your house has no walls, don't fuck in the kitchen. It's a fair point.
Nobody does this. Like, it's just that simple. Nobody does this.
Sure.
It's just, you know, there people may start in one place and then everybody with a kid immediately is like, we should go into a room that has walls. So
yes, we should go into a room that has walls.
Yes, maybe even a door.
That's the beginning of them thinking that she knows more about sex than a 9-year-old should probably know.
The beginning of Vera thinking that, right?
Yes,
but
and her trying to convince John.
And like I think Vera's performance is really interesting. I also think the character's really written in an interesting way. Like what I like about that scene a lot is I'm talking about the scene with her and Isabel Furman in the room.
Yeah, when she's painting and
Vera walks into that room with all the hand, right? All like high status. I'm the mom. You're the kid. I'm gonna talk down to you. I'm going to tell you how it is, and I'm also going to find a way to walk out of this where we're still friends. And with like one look and one line, like that's when the movie changes, just in terms of who has control in that film. And that's pretty amazing.
It's amazing for a bunch of reasons, but I think it really does come down to the performances of the two of them. Like in that moment, Isabel usurps all the power in their relationship, and it is ultimately the central relationship of this movie is this battle between Kate and Esther. It's kind of a fucked up mother-daughter story in a way, but yeah, Isabel just radiates this power.
It's gender reversed Oedipal, right?
Sure.
No.
Yeah. I mean, there's no question that Esther has her sights on John from the jump. There's something deeply unsettling about all the daddy stuff and all the like. It's Barrett.
Stop calling him daddy. Oh my God. Oh, I was like, Jesus Christ. If I were Vera Farmiga, I'd be like, all right, we got it.
She's not the best at seduction.
No, Esther? Yeah, no, she's not great at it.
She's not great at seduction. Like most men aren't looking to fuck children. So
most, yes, hopefully.
Most.
Yeah.
So posing as a child is not the best way to seduce a man. But for a certain type of, criminal, maybe that's what she's looking for.
I mean, so just to jump forward so we can talk about the twist and unpack it a little bit. I do feel like the scene where John drinks an entire bottle of wine in what feels like over the course of half a cigarette, because he's like smoking a cigarette at the time.
Cigarettes had a really weird role in this movie.
Yeah,
also.
I don't really get
it's like the nun and him, and like, but like all of a sudden they're just like, now is the time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I feel like
whenever the director just smoked cigarettes, this was like a little thing he wanted to add.
So pro cigarettes these days.
He's like, none smoke.
More cigarettes.
But it is interesting that cigarettes do, and here's the thing, I think it's what you're getting at, Barrett. They don't seem particular. We don't live in a world where people smoke that much in media anymore for obvious reasons. So it feels like when someone smokes, it needs to make sense for the character, and it doesn't make sense for either of these characters.
Yeah. Anyway.
But all that being said, he drinks an entire bottle of wine. Esther, it looks like she chops up one of Kate's dresses in order to make it fit her and puts on a bunch of makeup and comes downstairs, and it's straight up horrifying and so upsetting because it's just, she's trying to seduce him. It's clear that she's trying to seduce him, but she actually looks scary. Like it doesn't look, I mean, obviously she's a child, but I just mean there's something so unsettling about it.
I know that I may have just zoned out for half a second. Was he drugged or was he woozy from
He was
waking
not
up?
drunk. I think he just drank a full bottle of wine.
So he was
just
drunk,
yes.
And he was just a little woozy from being drunk and having just
correct.
That was weird. I didn't love that because it did make me think that like that's a weird perspective to be in. The perspective of someone who's a little drunk.
It's a little rapey. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the implication I think was that she was responsible in some way. She just kind of, it was just coincidental that she got
correct.
That she happened upon this, compromised man. Okay, moving
correct. On. So he's drunk, and it changes. It makes his we see his POV, and it's all blurry and like, fucked up and what have you. And she tries to seduce him essentially. To their credit, I guess. They don't go very far with it. Now, in the earlier versions of the draft, there was more information about Esther's past, that she had attempted to seduce other adoptive fathers, that she was molested by her father, and that she's looking, to sort of, it's a whole like just daddy issues nonsense that's all been dialed up to like 11 or what have you. And then after escaping from the mental institution, she worked as a prostitute in Estonia. She was arrested, and then under the pretense of being a child, she was able to get out of jail, stay out of jail, blah blah blah, and all that. So there was this whole
I'm excited to see the prequel, because the prequel will touch on
the
all this
prequel
then.
called First Kill might very well be about this. I don't know.
I mean, I don't need to see every little thing, but to find out Esther's backstory would be like fascinating.
Possibly, if they decide to do this. I really don't know where they're going to go with it. But in the earlier drafts, Esther's attempt to kill her attempts to kill Daniel, which is the son, was successful, which is fucked up. But I guess there was a version where like she actually like did smother the kid to death in the hospital. The seduction scene between John and Esther was originally much longer and much more sexually graphic, and it was cut down, thankfully so. This scene did not need any more than it actually had. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree.
No.
Very agree.
No.
Completely agree.
Yeah, it is. So there was also in an earlier version of the draft, Esther didn't stab John to death. Instead, he discovers that black light paintings, which is fucking dope, in her room. Even though you're just like, why does she have the time to do this? But okay, like I mean, she just turned off all the lights and doesn't matter. It looks cool.
It's the same beat as Problem Child with, but it's fine.
It is. They steal from Ring 2 and Problem Child, because at the end of Ring 2, she also says, I'm not your fucking mommy or whatever. But she apparently stabbed John in the eye with a pair of scissors, but he lives. I think it's much better that she just stabs the shit out of him.
I think so too.
So happy that he died.
He deserved it.
He deserved it.
Yeah. It's so.
One of the family members had to die, or else it's not a real fucking horror movie. In this particular situation, I guess I'm happy he didn't kill Daniel. That kid didn't do anything wrong, but
that kid did deserve to die.
Was that decided then after it was done filming? Because I could see that being done after. Because the way it was shot,
he looked
his
dead.
eyes. And then the doctors run in, and then everything else is voiceover after that about Daniel.
And we never
must
see
have
him
been done in post. Yeah.
My guess is that she killed him because he looked very dead.
Yeah,
and then
they ADR'd you tried to kill my son instead of you killed my son or something like that.
Yeah. So the actual reveal, just for a quick second, is cross-cut. So basically, she stabs John. Esther stabs John.
Good stabbing.
Great stabbing. Yeah. Solid stabbing. Like they really go for it. She goes to her bedroom and she starts to basically like pull all the makeup off of her face and take off the choker ribbon and what have you, and reveal all the scars. And it's cross-cut with Kate trying to get back to the house. Maybe she takes off all the stuff before she kills him,
and the voiceover, right? The voiceover of the doctor telling the whole story. So we're seeing it at the same time.
I think she takes it off before. Yeah,
she takes it off before she kills him.
Yeah.
Then she takes the teeth out, and we like because she doesn't want to go to the dentist because she's got fucked up. It's fucking great. It's great, and the way she's streaking all the makeup off her face made me think of you guys have seen American Psycho when he's peeling that the face mask off. Like it just feels like she's just showing.
Made me think of Jack Nicholson's Joker.
That too. Yeah. It's just fucking great. It's really great. And we're gonna say this a lot, I'm sure, but like Isabel somehow, just by taking off this makeup and these teeth, exudes that she's 33 years old. Like she feels like an old soul.
The disrespect also. Sorry, I'm 33 years old right now, and so is Danielle, and this is rude. I was like,
don't give away my age.
Oh, sorry, everyone.
Sorry, we could delete
beep it.
Spoiler alert.
I'm 33 and beep.
You guys don't look a day over 22.
Well, yeah, I hope we look 12 or 9 or however old she is.
You guys could
I
totally
don't
be
know.
Esther.
I was like, what is that? What are the bags under the eyes? I was like, this is the
First of all, all right.
disrespect.
A couple things here. No offense, you guys aren't your garden variety 33-year-olds, okay? Secondly, as someone who's about to be 40, I had the same thing. Was like 33-year-olds can't pull this shit off. 33-year-olds are like dumb kids, you know? Who's scared of a 33-year-old? Like,
That's right. I want her to be like 65.
You have to be an old, bitter, crazy 50 plus to like pull this shit off.
It's funny because
I
like
mean, that like 33 is a baby. You know?
do you remember? Did you guys watch Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Yes. Everybody, no, Kenny, you watched it, right?
Of course.
Do you remember? I don't remember what season it was. I think it might have been 6. But when we realized that Melisandre is like this fucking ancient
Yeah, she's
crone
like
who's,
thousands of years old.
She's like thousands of years old, and she's got this necklace that just makes her look super hot and sexy.
Yeah.
That's what I think ultimately wanted this to be, where it's like she takes off her choker and she just turns out to be like 90. It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
so but yeah, no.
Maybe
so
Game of Thrones was inspired by Orphan.
Yeah, obviously. But I do think that Isabel does somehow convey, maybe not 33, but
There
does
is some
convey
CGI
age.
though, guys.
Is there?
Like there is, yes.
Okay,
Like I
okay.
watched it on the big screen, and some of it when it's close up was like
Oh, they did some stuff. Okay.
there was
Little sus.
100% some CGI.
believe
I
that.
want you to go back and let me
I
know if
believe
you
that.
guys agree. But at certain points, I was like, that's CGI. Like they did something.
They
I would
might have done
love to
some
know
stuff
if they
to it,
talked
sure.
about it. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, they definitely did some stuff to alter her at the end, makeup or CG, what have you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the performance is there, right? Like if you don't have the performance, it doesn't matter what bells and whistles you're doing. But so to kind of just jump through the plot a little bit, as we mentioned, the movie opens with this like horror opening where Kate's having this nightmare about the stillborn birth of her child. Margot Martindale plays her psychiatrist, always great. 2 thumbs up from Barrett. And so John and Kate decide to adopt this 9-year-old girl, Esther, who seems Russian, from this local orphanage. CCH Pounder, always great, playing the nun who runs this orphanage. So, I mean, as is the case, it's such a horror movie trope, but like the second Kate meets Esther, you're like, this kid's a creep. Don't adopt the kid. Like she doesn't seem, she's by herself. She's painting. She seems like a fucking weirdo. Like don't adopt Esther. But I guess you have no choice under the circumstances.
Those scary midsummer paintings too. Like like every flower has a face, and it's
every
just like,
flower has a
ooh.
face. It's great.
No.
So they obviously adopt Esther. The son, Daniel, is immediately a little bit put off by her. But the daughter, they have a deaf daughter, Max, who's the cutest kid in the world.
Good too.
She's so good
Yeah.
and so cute. And so much of her face through the whole movie is just like, it's just fear, just pure. Just like her eyes are just so pure, and she's just like, please stop killing people, Esther. Just like stop.
I
hurting
loved
people."
that element of the story. I loved the scene where she talks to her and there's silence and the sound design was taken away, and like it's just them talking before everything goes bad. Anyways, I loved her.
I thought Max was great. I loved the whole. I thought they did a really great job of not. How can I put this? Of not sort of using the deafness as a trope or as a thing to play with. It just felt like she just happened to be deaf. It felt organic to the story. And that performance was fantastic.
Everyone did a great job with that. That was really sensitive. She's also, the actress is actually deaf, which is good for them. Bonus points.
Bonus points. I think that it's interesting too that like Max really wants a sister. Like she was you know, the stillborn child was Jessica, and she wanted to have a little sister, and this whole thing is about sort of her really wanting to have that bond with a sister, so that you can sense that neediness in Max, and that's why she's willing to turn a blind eye to so much of the terrible shit that Esther does. Like the first thing is Esther pushes one of her classmates off of a fucking jungle gym and breaks her leg, and Max lies and says that the girl slipped, even though she knows full well that Esther pushed her. So it's like it's the beginning of Max being willing to be like, I mean, all right, I guess this is what sisters do. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's what you did with your sister, right, Danielle? I mean, that's
100%. I covered up all the people she killed. Yeah. It felt organic the way that she initially says, like, I'm just going to cover, because the girl didn't die. If the girl died the first time, I think maybe it would be different, but she just pushed her and like she just broke her leg. It felt a little abrupt how quickly that turned though. Like I knew there was tension between the mean girl at school and Esther, but like I was like, why is she so scared walking through? Like that was definitely like
I kind of wanted that girl to die.
Yeah, but if she died, then it's not as believable that Esther's like.
I don't disagree with
hides
you.
It for her.
But that kid was a fucking brat.
Too.
That
what
kid
a
sucked.
Oh,
yeah. What a monster.
And her mom was a mess.
Yes.
Mess box.
Mom, the one that's hitting on Peter Sarsgaard, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That scene was amazing, by the way. Like the low cut shirt and the like, can you come move a chair?
All right,
for
so
me?
I gotta let's talk about. Can you move a chair for me? Let's talk about Pete.
Yes.
Hot or not?
Peter Sarsgaard, hot or not?
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
He wasn't hot in this to me.
Interesting.
He
Okay.
wasn't hot. I think him and Vera Farmiga have a ton of sexual tension in this, and it was like great to watch. But I did not find him hot.
Not hot, but Barrett, I think you think
Not
he's
Well, no,
this.
I think generally he is hot.
generally
For
a
sure.
hot man.
I mean, in this, he wasn't. No, I don't think so. No, I think you're right, Danielle. I think it's like he was too. Vera Farmiga was very hot in this, but I think he was a little square, and I think even from the beginning, I was not. I felt like he's messing around. He's doing some nasty shit on her.
So I don't think Sarsgaard is a particularly attractive man, and I also think like Sarsgaard. But here's the thing that I was I want to like him.
Sure.
He seems like the kind of actor I should like. He's in a lot of movies I like. As a not particularly like super handsome man, you root for this guy, and particularly as women find him more attractive. But there's something about him always that is just like, I don't know anyone who would hang out with him.
You think he's pompous?
I think he's an asshole. Yeah, but but maybe this is maybe I've gotten to my pompous asshole portion of my life. Because watching this movie, there is something early on where I'm just like, God, he is so tired and over it, and I can relate to that. Like. So there was something about his like performance in this was just like, like whatever. Where
he didn't seem like a good husband at all. Like there was nothing. I was like,
well,
no.
okay.
Blaming her for Max falling into the lake and becoming deaf and nearly dying, as true as it might be, because she was dead drunk, is so cruel and so unnecessary.
No, 100%. Well, there's two things that I think are worth unpacking. The first is they have a fight that seems to allude to the fact that he cheated on her and also she cheated on him, or something to that effect. Am I crazy in that?
I know he cheated on her.
He definitely cheated on her 10 years ago. He
Right.
only told her
about it
2 years ago.
Yeah.
But then he says something about it might have been what you were saying, Kenny. He might have been taking a shot at her for her alcoholism or something like that.
That's what I thought it was.
Which is very possible. But they both have their skeletons.
Yeah. He said, you were so drunk and nearly killed our daughter.
Right.
I think they're tit for tat. Like that dynamic feels so like real
Yeah.
in long, in marriages. I'm sure, especially if you have children, it's like that long form relationship.
It is.
That was like
so fucking hard. Not
How hard is it, Kenny?
not to bring up old shit in the context of an argument. It is so there. It's like old
Kenny's
shit
getting
is like
real right now.
old
Yeah.
shit is just like hit like coming at you from every direction. Like I can say this, I can say that, I can say this, and it's just like stay in the moment, talk about the thing that's happening.
Well, because it's like evidence,
grown
right?
up.
It's a trial to some degree, right? And you're just like, I have evidence
if you
that
look
proves
at
what
it,
you've
yes,
done.
if you
Yeah.
look at it like that, and it really is a matter of like being your best self in the moment. And your best self is not someone who's gonna like put someone on trial for old shit.
Yeah.
But like it's so hard not to.
I
How long
wanted
have you
to.
been married for, Kenny?
How long have I been married? For forever, Danielle. I've been married. I've been married since this movie was in theaters. So no, that's not true. I got married in 2010. So I've been married for 12 years, and I've been with Laura since 2007. So I'm 15 years into this game, and I've only brought up old shit several hundreds of times. But we're talking about thousands of days. So
Yeah.
Right.
It's-
Sorry.
No, I think that, I mean, but to your point, Kenny, like again, a testament to this movie is that they go there, right? Like it does feel like they want these people to feel real. They want the situation to feel real. And that scene feels very real. And again, I think that Peter Sarsgaard, who, it's worth noting that like, I think the two performances that I remember seeing him in earliest were Garden State and Shattered Glass.
yeah, me
And
too.
he's very charismatic in both of those movies. There is something charming about him. There is something, I don't know if sexy is the word that I would necessarily use, but there is something about him that's very watchable, that feels,
His
in
performance in Shattered Glass is one of my favorite performances
fucking
ever
great in that movie.
ever in movies. Part of it is because he's a smarmy piece of shit, and he's right. Like that's
smarmy is the perfect word.
He is smart.
Smarmy is the perfect word. He was smarmy in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's smarmy, but like he's smart.
Yeah.
Like, I like the idea that his smart, like in Shattered Glass in particular, because this is the opposite. But I like the idea that his smarminess doesn't also make him wrong. He's right in Shattered Glass. In fact, he's playing the Vera Farmiga role where he's the only one who sees the truth.
Yes.
Has anyone seen The Lost Daughter recently?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He's very good in that too.
And he's very sexy in that. Like
He because that's about like
Working with his wife, right?
and his wife. Yeah.
that's his wife. Oh yes.
She
yeah.
directed it.
She directed
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I was
But
like,
like it's the intelligence.
What a couple.
Is the thing, right? You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
it's like there's this sharpness to him.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't play particularly smart in Garden State, but he's very smart.
He plays like a local,
Yeah,
and I
he's like
like
a
that vibe too.
But like he's very smart in Shattered Glass. He's very smart in Lost Daughter.
Yeah.
And I think he's smart in this. Like he does
Very
play,
smart in,
he does play high, high status.
Very smart in the movie that was nominated for Best Picture. What's the one we already did?
Oh,
I have no-
an education
And Education. That's his whole thing. And also British accent, which is
and
bizarre.
smarmy and having sex
smarmy.
with underage girls.
Oh, yeah.
Can
Yeah,
I
that's his thing.
can I posit something? I think
Please.
that the dynamic between him and Isabel Furman, like I got from that character that he liked that attention he was getting. That like that whatever his wife being distant from him, even if it's just it tracks that he would want to fuck somebody else or like flirt with moms at the playground or move their chairs or whatever, but I loved like that moment on the playground when you see Esther cut her eyes at that other woman. And I was like, that's an adult face. That's an adult woman who's looking at someone hitting on her boyfriend. Like, excuse me. Like
I'm right here. Yeah.
Yeah, I like loved that. And that was now that I, after the twist, when you rewatch it and you see that moment, it totally reads as that very adult, like, bitch, who are you? Like it, and I really loved that moment.
Yeah.
because I totally forgot about it. And when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that's perfect.
Barrett.
Like Easter egg laying in the, you know.
Barrett, this is a really good argument, really good point you're making. They were intimate together.
Sure.
Without being sexual, there was an intimacy between those two characters that you know, it was uncomfortable in the moment. It just, and it's a weird vibe for an adopted father and a child that he adopted as a I guess she was a 10-year-old allegedly, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 9-year-old allegedly. It's a weird kind of like, because there is like, look, intimacy, you know, like I'm intimate with my children in that, like, I'm very much myself and we're very open with each other. But you know, we've been doing this for a while and it's grown from when they were like little babies and whatever it is. Like you know, there's a cuddling with your child thing that you work up to, that it felt like they were kind of there, this like secret hideout shit. Let's talk about, you know, other people and let's share secrets and let's, you know, that moved way too fast. And I agree with you, Barrett, that like he did like it.
He engaged in it too. He like it justified why he kept excusing her behavior. Like, because it was at a certain point, even though he was struggling with trust with his wife, there was this like, you're choosing her over me, which is what Vera Farmiga, I think, was feeling. Right. There was like genuine jealousy there. And then there was that weird dynamic where he was also leveraging that distrust and that jealousy against her, and like almost like dangling it and being like, well, I mean, she's just a kid. And she's like, what are you talking about? This is weird, you know, like, super. And you just hitting your head against a wall. It's like, I thought that was, he clearly to me was engaging in it too, both for his own self-satisfaction or ego boost or whatever, you know, I'm a good dad feeling, but also that like to hold it against his wife, you know, it was really complex.
You may have just talked me into Peter Sarsgaard being on my end of your ballot too. Like that's a bold choice to make. Everything you just, and it's bold in the script, but this is not a character I can ever remember seeing before. Someone who like, God, I'm going to get real creepy, but like there are emotional affairs and there are sexual affairs. Sure. And I think what we're saying is he was having an emotional affair with this child.
Yes.
And that is something else. You know what I mean? And when it got sexual, like he was shaken into the real world and was like, there was a bit of like, you misread my signs, but like, did she? Because you were like totally getting emotionally intimate with her.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, I mean, it's part of why, you know, he deserves to die at the end, but also just like, it's what almost makes you, and I don't want to suggest that you should feel sorry for Esther necessarily under the circumstances, but like the way that she's marking her territory early on in the film, when her and Max go into the parents' bedroom when they're making out or whatever, and she's like, I want to lie next to daddy, and she's like immediately just like taking ownership over this situation. He obviously knows what she's doing from the jump, right? Like this is not, you couldn't be oblivious to the fact that this girl wanted to sort of imprint something on you and that she wanted to be there. Yes, Danielle?
Oh, you saw my mouth go. Yeah. I don't think he knew about it early on. I think after he started playing it, I don't think at that moment when she's like, I want to sit next to daddy, that he knew.
Yeah. I agree.
I think, yes, as it goes on, he starts loving the attention he's getting from this 9-year-old child.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
But I don't think in that first scene he was privy to it.
You know, so Esther starts to get violent pretty quickly. She kills a pigeon with a rock. She pushes that kid off of the jungle gym.
After Daniel shoots it with a paintball gun, what the fuck?
He didn't mean to kill
deniability on that one.
I was like, that is the moment that they could have killed Daniel. If people remembered it in the script, like I was like, I'm sorry, but maybe Daniel deserves to die.
Well,
kinda,
then we-
I kind of like
yeah.
that kid's acting. I'm
did too.
I'm into like kids who cry hysterically because I feel like crying is a huge part of childhood. And yet, so like, you know, a movie that I'm not crazy about and everyone else is crazy about, but that does it so well is A Christmas Story. Like the way they just have kids like break into hysterical sobbing. That's good shit. And I think it's great how like he's not.
Do you like it when your kids do it?
Hate it. He's not stoic. He's not stoic when he's on top of the burning treehouse. He is crying hysterically, which is what a kid. And like it feels like there's this point where like a kid is like 7, 8, 9, where like you're not supposed to cry in movies anymore. I watched this movie. It was so interesting. I forget. It was called I think Cold Water, something like that. And it's about like a troubled teen camp. And these two kids get into a setup fight, right? It's like, you guys have problems. Go fight in the fucking gravel somewhere. So everyone circles around these two guys. They're like probably 16, 17 years old. Yeah.
Yes.
Very, very,
very West Side Story. Yeah.
But like the one who loses the fight, like is crying at the end of it. Like not like cheering, like crying. Which like, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like that seems kind of real to me that a 16-year-old who loses if I can get his ass kicked might be crying at the end. So I'm into that. I'm very into like hysterical
this kid
tears.
cries. Daniel does cry a couple times.
He's a good crier.
He's a good crier. He's a good actor. There's a moment where Daniel sees Esther hiding something in the treehouse. So then in the middle of the night, she takes an X-Acto knife and puts it to his throat and says, "I'll cut off your hairless little prick before you even know what it's
so
good for." What to use it for.
Just fire line.
Crying and pees himself. It's
Again, one of those moments, Barrett, when you look back and you go, "Oh, this is an older person." Like another Easter egg. Like completely makes sense. A 9-year-old wouldn't say that.
It's a great scene, though.
It is.
It's great. So then Kate is obviously concerned about Esther's unusual behavior. John believes she's being paranoid. Esther cuts all the flowers off of Jessica's grave.
I wanted to know what Danielle thought of that scene. I think that is the most devastating thing. You knew
brutal.
When she showed her that fucking bush, something was going to happen to it. And I just want to know what Danielle thought about that. I don't know why, but when I was watching it and she comes in with those fucking flowers, I was like, I want to see Danielle's.
I want to know why you want to know what I thought. You're like, what does Danielle think of this right now?
It was so disturbing, and to me, one of the most like pure horror. Like to me, that was like it was psychological, but it was so and it was so
good. So manipulate the situation. Like I did not see that coming. I audibly yelled, "No!" Like I was like, "How? Why?"
Well, I think it's what's so good about it and why it's good writing is that it's something physical that has an unquestionable emotional component to it, right? Like that you can actually, that these flowers are a manifestation of something. It's good writing. It's not necessarily subtle writing, but it's very well done. When she walks in with those flowers, and I mean, again, Vera Farmiga killing it. It looks like somebody just like stabbed her in the stomach. Like it's just amazing.
I think this movie's a fucking Swiss clock. It's like everything's perfect. It's just like this is the way you do it. I don't know how else to say. Like even the reveal, which could have been clunky, you know, it's not the best in the world to have a character like literally explain what's happening.
Sure.
But that plus the cross-cutting, plus the, you know, I mean, I thought it was hilarious that what is called the Sarn Institute in Estonia is everything's in English, but
the person who picks up the phone is speaking Estonian, so I guess that's something.
But I don't know, is Estonian a language? But
the task Estonian. Past and future guest. Yeah.
But no, on the Bible it says Sarn Institute in English. Mm-hmm. Okay,
yes, that's true.
Enough.
That's true. They're listen. I mean, yes, it's not. It should be in.
No, that's bad writing. The rest of it's great. But the way they're called, they're speaking Estonian, and then they get the English guy, and it's not like this incredibly long drawn out. There's a secret. Like the secret. What I love about it is like the secret is kind of hiding in plain sight.
Yeah,
it all makes sense in retrospect. Like it's not Sixth Sense, but like pretty fucking close.
I do think that they parse it out really smartly in the sense that the first phone call is when the realization that it was a mental institution and not an orphanage. That's the first shoe to drop. It's not till she gets the later phone call from the much older person who works there, who actually has sort of the history. But like, I don't want to skip past this amazing moment when Esther breaks her own arm in a fucking vice to make it seem as though the cape broke her arm.
I was like, no.
It's
no.
great.
What
It
is
is
happening?
good shit.
It was really good, but it was really disturbing to watch. And it was,
I was
right
just
after the
like,
flowers.
I'm huge fan of Psycho's self-mutilating. Like there's just that's always a good moment, and that's when you know that the Psycho's for real.
Wait, Danielle, were you going to say something? I felt like you were going to. You went like you had one of your.
Oh, earlier? No, I'm trying to remember in my head because you said every part of the script like it flowed. There was a scene that I remember, and I can't remember now. That like when it happened, I was like, that totally is not real. Like nothing about it. I'll remember it eventually before the end of this, hopefully. But there was a scene that totally like I hated, and I couldn't remember what it was.
Well, maybe we'll stumble on it.
That's fair. Maybe I've been wrong before.
I think Esther biting on a towel, vice, and then the next day, John sees the arm and is like, "We need to go to the hospital." But
she sleeps in her bed.
Yeah.
He lets her sleep in the bed. That's the moment where you're like, he likes this too much.
This is he enjoys it too much. He's also willing to defend. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
No, we skipped something when they kill the nun and hide
with the
body.
fucking hammer.
I did think that those two small people, whether it's a 37-year-old woman or not, and a child, would not be able to drag.
No chance.
Like drag the dead weight of like an adult woman.
Maybe she's 34, 30. I could test this out. I have a 9-year-old and a 9-year-old girl and a 5-year-old.
Okay, see if they can drag you. I want to know.
Can you
Report
film
back.
it and see if we can?
I could just tell
it?
you right now that my wonderful, beautiful, perfect 5-year-old would be zero help. Zero. He would do. He would not be able to do any work.
Less than nothing.
Nothing. My daughter and my daughter is she's strong. But she couldn't move me. Could she move my wife? I don't think so.
I want to test this out though. We need you to
need evidence.
I'll do it with my wife.
Okay, perfect.
We'll put it on
The orphan test, and we'll put it on.
Yes, the orphan test. We'll put it on.
I'll just say this though.
She'll love that.
two questions for you guys. The first is, and one's more of a comment, which is that this plan that Esther has hatched, which is that Max will go in the middle of the street waving her arms in order to fuck up CCH Pounder's car. Max doesn't want to do it, so she just punts her into the street. So there's that. But this is the bigger question, which is I'm unclear as to what Esther's end game is. Like, I'm not really sure what she wants in this situation. Like, she's destroying this family from the inside, which maybe that is her plan.
She's trying to get. Oh, sorry.
No, please go ahead. I'm serious. I don't know.
It's the hand that rocks the cradle.
So she wants the dad. She just wants the dad for her own. Okay.
And she doesn't want to be sent back. So the nun's the only thing that's trying to get her sent back. And obviously Kate stands in the way between her and Daddy. And then the little boy also stands in the way.
Thriller. It just is. It is an erotic.
If you replace it with an older woman, it's Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Mm-hmm.
Right, because that was the babysitter, right? Rebecca De Mornay was the babysitter.
She came in, and she had lost a child, but her motivation was she had lost a child herself and wanted to take on a family.
Right. It was Raising Arizona, but the dark version.
I don't know Raising Arizona.
You've never seen Raising Arizona?
So you guys know. You all know. Barrett.
Well, you'd really.
There's so many movies I haven't seen.
You would love that movie. It's like it's an early Coen Brothers film. Nicolas Cage, Holly Hunter. It's amazing.
I've seen. I can visualize the.
They steal a baby from a family that has like 10 babies.
So many babies. So many babies.
They did so many babies. They don't really miss.
I think they had six. I think they had six tuplets, right?
Six tuplets.
Yeah. So they just took one.
They took one. You know. It's great.
Anyways, I thought that was the motivation. I felt the motivation was very clear.
I'll take that. That motivation works. So then we have Max getting left inside the car and her popping the emergency brake and rolling the car down and poor Max just sitting in the back, just like these big eyes filled with tears while the car's rolling down the
That has one of my favorite moments.
Scene, though. It was so well done. Because, like, again, everything that Esther did was something that you're like, oh, if somebody really wanted to fuck with somebody and manipulate them, cut off the flowers of the plant that has so much meaning to them. Literally take the parking brake off when a kid's in the car, which easily could have crashed. It could have been hit by like 3 oncoming cars. It was like,
it's great.
I love random day players / stuntman.
I know what you're
running after it. And then opening the door and being like, getting so close and falling. Like, that is good.
That's what people do on TikTok now, by the way. Don't they like run next to cars now?
Yeah, like Ghost Riding the Whip.
Yeah.
I think we're talking like 10 years ago, but still.
What year are we?
But
what year are we in?
But we're in 2009. But
sounds right.
Yeah, that guy, that day player takes it in the teeth, and it's great.
Awesome, because that's that kind of like doesn't cost anything moment that gives you so much more like realism. Yeah, some dad there really would try to play the hero. Here, look, I mean, true story. This is a true story. Are you ready for this story I'm about to tell you?
Let's hear it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I lived in a like in a development, right? And I lived on a hill like that. So my house was on a hill and the driveway was like that. And it went down to the street and then to another house, to another like hill, and then a house at the bottom of that hill. So I'm 16 years old, just driving. And I drive up, parking in front of the house. It was a circular driveway, parking in front of the house, and can't get the key out of the car for some reason. So, I leave the car and I go in to be like, Mom, I can't get the key out of the car. And I look back and it turned out I couldn't get the key out of the car because I turned it off while it was still in drive. So it is rolling down the hill and it's rolling down and it looks like it's going to go down the hill and go right across, jump the curb and go right into the house across the street. And miraculously, because there was a curve, I guess the way I parked it, and there was a curve in the driveway, it hits the curve and does a full 180. And my next door neighbor hears my mom yelling or me yelling or both of us yelling. And this guy who's probably like 35 at the time runs down his hill and jumps into the car and puts it in park and puts the brake on. But I saw it happen in real fucking life. Some hero jumping out and saving the day.
So was that scene traumatic for you to watch?
No, please. I worked through all my trauma, but no, that was a real thing. And I always, that to me, that's a sliding door moment in my life. Like if that did hit the curve and it could have easily gone through the person's living room and killed someone.
I weirdly have a very similar story.
Stop it, Phil.
I do.
Brothers.
Meant to be you two.
But so my story is, so I think I was probably 9 or 10, and my mom had just bought a new car, and we were at my grandparents' house, and I don't remember the circumstances particularly well, but for whatever reason, I was in the car by myself. I knew that she got a new car and I was like, I liked sitting in the new car, whatever. Didn't have the keys. I was 10 and I genuinely don't know how this happened, just because like mechanically, I don't understand how it happens. But I'm playing around in the car and the car starts to roll down the driveway. and it rolls down the driveway. It goes across the street. It goes and it slams into a tree of the house of the people across the street.
Wait, you were in the car?
I was in the car, and it
So
was
together, you guys have this story.
yeah. So together we created.
Wait, Phil.
Orphan.
This is
Yeah,
very
it was
very upsetting to me.
It was very scary. I was 10, and I
you
was
didn't have your seatbelt on. I would imagine.
I didn't have my seatbelt on.
You're
and
okay.
I was fine, but I remember. Here's what all I remember. First of all, it happens very quickly, right? Thankfully, it was not a busy street. It was a residential street, right? So, like, thankfully, I mean, I could have been hit by a car that was just like whatever, and I just remember, and I was only 10 or something like that, but I remember being so sorry, like just being like so upset that I had hurt my mom's car, which was like this brand new car. And it was, I mean, whatever, it was what it was. But I just remember people running to the car. And I remember, like, I can still vividly see like all these people running to the car and me just saying like, I'm sorry. Like it was
Oh
really,
God, you
it
were
was traumatic.
Max.
Yeah. So yeah, I really felt for Max in this situation. Max was, yeah. But yeah, it was just a weird. Thankfully, you know, everyone was fine and the car was barely damaged and it was what it was. But yeah, it could have been really bad. But yeah, so Kenny, between the two of us, we recreated Orphan.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I am fucked up by that story, Phil.
Yeah,
That
it was
fucked me up a lot more than Orphan did.
But
the
see,
thing that
wasn't this really about, though, this car moment was about making Vera Farmiga seem like she's a drunk, incompetent parent?
absolutely. Yeah.
Totally.
So all of this is like, no one's out here blaming your parents for locking you guys out of the car. It's
Well, that's
like,
the thing. Like
but
Vera,
in this story, it was so weaponized in like.
well, she does buy the wine.
She does buy the wine.
She buys the
She
wine.
doesn't
Now,
drink it.
she doesn't drink it, but she buys it, which is the temptation, which, I mean, it is what it is. But like, she buys the wine. She buys 2 bottles of wine. She pours one of them down the sink. She keeps the other one. Okay. And
Because he has to drink it later.
it's true.
Well, it did make me
you're
think it did make me think when we were discussing his wine.
Yes.
It was that the bottle. I
That
mean,
is the
or
infamous
we're
bottle.
expected to believe that is the bottle of wine that Esther found
Correct.
in her hiding place because she read about it in her diary. So technically, she could have done something to it, Kenny. I don't know. That to me,
That's
the way
interesting.
he was
She might have put drugs in there. Yeah, you're right.
It did feel a little
You're
like
right,
more
you're
than
right.
him just being drunk off of a bottle of
I
wine.
agree with that.
I agree with that. The way they shot it, how it was like, it made it seem like he was more than just drunk.
So Barrett, you bring up the diary, which is another super fucked up moment when she starts. She's reading from the diary, and then from Kate's diary that she wrote during her depression post stillbirth. She then snatches the diary away from her, and Esther has memorized the passage about feeling the baby kicking inside her before it died, and you're just like.
And after it was still alive, or after it was dead, it was phantom.
Yeah.
Phantom.
Phantom pains. Yeah.
She felt that the baby was kicking, but it wasn't.
Dark shit.
There's one of the reviews of this was talking about how it's horror cliche after horror cliche, and finding a character's diary is a bit of a cliche.
Sure.
But it doesn't matter. What matters is the way you execute it, and this is so powerfully utilized in this narrative that it's worth it. Like it didn't seem like a weird or hackneyed or cliched way to go at all. Like this is what this character would do. I believe that she memorized the passage, and I think that it really was a very effective way to move this narrative forward.
I totally agree. I mean, then we get the Daniel thing where it looks like she killed him. You get Kate slapping Esther and screaming, "What did you do to him, you bitch?"
Finally. Yeah, Barrett's clapping.
Barrett's clap. Yeah, it's good. And then obviously we have the big.
Who wouldn't? That's it. Sorry. Like that's it. Like I think that's where my line.
It felt really good.
Yeah, I hate to say that,
satisfying.
but
It was upsetting how good it felt.
She's 33. It doesn't feel that bad.
I wanted her I kind of wanted her to throw her against the fucking fridge when she cut the flowers. It's like, I've had enough of this. Like, this is just hurl her across the room. She's 60 pounds.
Yeah, she's tiny.
Which brings me to the fight they had, which I could not. It was unbelievable.
So we have the big reveal at this point, which is that we find out that obviously that Esther is actually a 33-year-old woman named Lena Klaumer born in Estonia and suffers from hypopituitarism, a rare hormone disorder that stunted her physical growth and caused proportional dwarfism. And she spent most of her life posing as a little girl. Yeah, and that these scars on her body are from the straitjackets during her time at the institution. And then we have, as we mentioned earlier, this cross-cutting of the reveal and blah, blah, blah. But the shots of Kate driving are so fucking cool and stylish, too, with the streaking of the snow that she's like, it's really well done. And it's really suspenseful. Anyway, Kate rushes home. Lena attempts to shoot her, wounds her in the arm. She crawls on the roof. She falls through the roof. She knocks her unconscious. They go out on the ice. And again, this is
ends on the ice, which is just perfect. This is horror movie like
it's good stuff.
Shit.
Full circle.
But then Max has the gun. And poor Max is like this little kid who doesn't obviously know how to use a gun. And she's just like trying to shoot, obviously, Esther, but shoots the ice instead. And they both go down. And it's great. That shot of them both going under the ice is so fucking cool.
Is there anything like fucking scarier than the shots in movies when you're under the ice and you're pushed? Come on.
It's so
always
good.
Works. Always plays.
Every time. Every time.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And then we,
the true nightmare, the true, I don't know. Would you rather be burned alive or drowning? That's like 50-50 to me, but I don't want to drown like that. I don't want to drown. Like,
yeah. I mean,
I've been stuck under the pool cover before when I was a kid because we had a pool cover and like it is terrifying. But if I had to choose fire and water, I feel like I'd choose water.
I'd choose water too.
Simply because it's more like
it's kind of a serene.
Yeah, smelling your flesh burn.
Well, Phil, that you can breathe water.
You can't.
So you can
Shallow,
survive.
You can breathe. Yeah, you can breathe.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Have you guys seen The Abyss? Have either of you seen The Abyss?
There is
First
some
of all,
way
watch
to breathe
The Abyss.
Water.
Great movie. And there's an amazing scene in it where a character has to drown themselves, and it's fucking amazing.
It's beyond brilliant.
It's the best, maybe the best thing James Cameron's ever made.
Just give me a list of films to watch.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Because I feel like there's so many, or Kenny, whoever feels like they would know me better about films.
I like that she thinks you know her better than I do, Kenny.
I know. I knew that the first time we met that we had this connection. Danielle. I knew that.
I get it. It's okay. I've only known you longer.
I knew that. No, cool. It's not about quantity. It's about quality.
This is the sort of emotional manipulation I'm talking about. Like,
I'm never going to live this down either.
That's fine. I'll totally.
Okay, wait, going back to the movies that we're not on this subject anymore, I really wanted the whole Russian roulette Russian roulette gun thing with one bullet to play out, and it never did. I kind of wanted that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does feel like it's kind of Chekhov's gun a little bit, which is the gun is put in the movie pretty early on when she points it at Max. Again, Max's face where she's just like, why are you pointing a gun in my face?
And she like shakes her head no because she's like, do you want to play? And then she goes, no. And then literally she says maybe later, which I was like, oh, foreshadowing, which they do play later. Max does have the gun, but it's not like a one bullet thing.
It's not a one bullet thing. But then we basically have Kate and Esther under the ice, under the water, at night, fighting. Esther stabbing Kate under the water. And Kate is able to get out of the water. She claws her way up, as does Esther. Esther says, please don't hurt me, mommy. Then she kicks her in the face and breaks her neck and says, I'm not your fucking mommy. And that shot, though, of the neck, of like, it's
amazing.
It's good.
I love it.
It's good.
But here's my question. What was the end game there for Esther? Like, Kate's over you, okay? She's already
done.
Tried to drown you in the ice. You're not gonna appeal to her motherly nature in this moment. She's gonna fuck you up.
That was very Schwarzenegger-esque, and like,
Yeah, it was.
let's give her the last great line because I loved it. I loved it. I mean, we know her neck was like barely hanging on anyway, right?
Yeah,
From all the
because of
scars.
all the shit. Yeah, so
Yeah.
sure.
I felt that last moment was for us as viewers.
Yes, it was
Like
yes.
it really, it wasn't a story. It was just like, it was like the topping the slap. Like, she slapped her, but now she.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Yeah.
It feels
It's
good.
Alien, it's Jaws, it's all of those like final moments.
Finally
of,
killing the monster.
I get the last word. Yeah.
It is a genuinely incredible task, success to make us hate this child as much as we did, and want to see her neck broken and then have her drown in her icy, watery grave.
That's
Jenny,
right.
she's not a child. She's a 33-year-old woman.
Well, but Isabel Furman is a child.
Yeah, but I mean, I wasn't hating on Isabel Furman. We obviously all think she's an amazing actress.
We
and
love
has a
her.
very long career.
Yeah.
But Esther, a.k.a. Lena, was 33.
Yeah, somehow
And I
she's
was
going to
okay
be in the
with her
sequel
dying.
too, apparently.
I
Isabel
know,
Furman, which I don't understand.
I don't know
how that
about
works.
this. I don't know about this. No,
The sequel is apparently a
concerns me.
prequel. It's called Orphan: First Kill.
I don't know.
Production was set to begin in the summer of 2020, but I don't know. Obviously, that didn't happen since, so I don't know what's happening with it. Maybe it's Julia Stiles was attached to it. So we'll see. I don't know.
Wow, Julia Stiles.
Julia Stiles. Yeah. I mean, supposed to be in it.
I
don't know.
thought she was done.
I
She
don't
was just
know
in
if I need
Hustlers.
a sequel to this, to be honest.
But producers do because it'll make them money.
Well, yes.
Will
No,
it?
I mean, there are people that
Probably.
it is interesting because, first of all, I agree with you, Barrett. But I'll also say it's been a beat. If you were going to do an Orphan thing, wouldn't you have done it a long time ago by now? Especially if you wanted to, as Kenny seemed obviously a little bit perturbed by, if you wanted Isabel Furman to be in it, she's too old now. I guess she would play a different role. I really don't know.
She's playing the same character. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
How
Maybe it's a
old was she
Benjamin
when she
Button
shot
thing.
this?
She was
like 12.
12,
I looked it up yesterday.
Okay.
She was born in 1997. So it was.
She's
she's in her
like a woman.
mid-20s now. Yeah.
So she doesn't look like this anymore. I mean, she
No.
looks like,
She looks like an adult woman.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just joking, but maybe they're Benjamin buttoning it.
Maybe. Or they're using footage from the original,
mm,
and I don't know. And I really don't know. I don't know.
Well,
They don't really
technically,
need to
maybe this comes. I guess you could justify. I wonder creatively if you could justify it because the character was not pretending to be a child. You know what I mean? Because when they age reversed her, she takes off the makeup and she has the circles and stuff, like technically that would align with when she made the decision to start posing as a kid, because she would have been in her 20s, right?
But is she still
At the time, which she is now.
I don't think she's gonna
said-
be. She's gonna be a little taller now.
I fear
yeah.
because I just looked up the premise,
true.
which is like the premise we fear, which is like the first time she tried to seduce a husband.
Sure.
I fear we're looking at some de-aging technology.
Ugh.
and maybe some. Are they gonna make her look little, like John Leguizamo in Moulin Rouge?
Yeah, some littling technology. We're gonna see some littling.
she still looks young. I just looked up a picture. She still looks
she
young.
does.
Does she
I'm looking
look
up her height.
9?
Like
no,
petite?
but like you could. I'm seeing how tall she is. She still looks very petite.
Okay, all right. Maybe it'll work.
I really
Maybe it shouldn't work.
She's 5'3". She's not tall.
Okay.
Well,
You want to rate this, Kenny?
yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, I saw this in the theaters. I liked it quite a bit. I don't think I loved it. I don't think it was the greatest. I think I would have given it like a 70 the first time I saw it. Second time I saw it, I just said fucking 89. It's a classic. I'm giving it an 89. I'm gonna drop a little bit to 85, but this movie fucking rocks. I love it, and I want everybody to watch it and enjoy it.
Danielle? You're muted.
Sorry, I muted myself because there's chainsaws going on in the background.
No worries.
Oh, be careful.
So hopefully they don't start up again.
It's fine.
This was my first time watching it. It was last night. I think immediately when it finished, I would have said like 89 because I was like, oh my God.
Sure.
And then now we talk about it and I see there's some no's and some little things. Like maybe like 79.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Barrett.
The first time I saw it, I think I sort of zoned out, but I liked it. And then I was like, whoa, so I think I probably would have given it like a 79. I actually think I liked it more this time than I did the first time I saw it. So I would bump it up to I think I'm going with about an 85 too, Kenny. I really had fun watching this movie. And I appreciated so much more of it than I did the first time because I was paying more attention to the performances and like the nuances and like the relationships that I think is what really made this work really well. I love the definition of it as an erotic thriller, which is very disturbing but true. And it's the most interesting version of that I've seen in a minute.
For sure.
It's a new version of that
I had a very similar reaction to Barrett and Kenny. I saw it in 2009. Probably would have given it like a 70 or a 73. I liked it fine. Watched it again the other day and was just like, wait a second. Like this movie's way better than I gave it credit for at the time. And then I bumped it up to like an 80. And now, honestly, I'm at an 85 as well. Like, I think it's a good movie. You're not that far off, Danielle. I mean, ultimately, we're on the same boat. But I think that ultimately, like, I think this is a movie that at the time, a lot of people were like, crazy orphan old lady, not old lady, but you know what I mean, older lady movie, whatever. And I think that it kind of got old, 33, old. So
ancient lady.
How dare you two?
I think that ultimately, I think it just kind of got swallowed by that narrative. And I think I enjoyed it fine. But now I'm like, this movie's a lot better than people give credit to.
I think people thought it was silly. And it's it's a little silly, but like that's like watch the movie. That's not really like what you don't walk away being like that was silly. You walk away being like that was fun. Like that was great. That was like exciting and thrilling and weird,
good psychological thriller,
cool and a little silly, but like not in a way that like Hereditary is a little silly. Come on, guys.
I think we've just come out of a pandemic and we've been watching too many bad films.
That could also be it.
Well, I think this is like it makes you want to talk about it. Right? Yeah. Like it makes you want to talk about it. It like, you're right, Kenny. It's fun to watch. It's like torturous, but in an entertaining way. And I think that that idea of like the old lady posing as it did enter the zeitgeist. Like people reference this movie in pop culture. Yeah. Not like all the time, but enough that I remember after I understand that reference when it comes up. And I think that makes it also successful because it's a weird twist, but I think people generally enjoy it.
No, 100%. I think that I think that it's also interesting too, because I remember at the time another bit of the narrative, and we didn't really talk about this, but Leonardo DiCaprio produced this film.
Yeah.
Appian Way, his company, produced this film. And I remember that was a bit of the thing too, right? Which is like, what's Leo doing producing this movie and why is this a thing? And you know, he produces stuff all the time. Usually it's his own stuff, but it is an interesting kind of, I guess, and his company has bought rights to things and whatever, but it does seem a little bit off the beaten path for Leonardo DiCaprio to produce this film. But a lot of people have also, you know, guessed that he was involved in helping cast these two, you know, very good actors in what might have felt like a B movie type.
He premise. Obviously worked with Vera in Departed, and
he did. Kenny's favorite film, The Departed.
Yep. Yep. I think that's an interesting element too, Phil. Like I think there is this idea that I think people thought maybe it was a bit craven for a guy who is so associated with like, you know, our
elevated,
our highest of high-minded shit, you know, more or less. I mean, I don't mean to like put it that. I'm not trying to say he's Daniel Day-Lewis, but like, you know, he is basically, you know, everything he does is a prestige movie. And to do this, it seems a little craven, like let's get on the horror bandwagon. But just watch the movie. That's just not what it is. And
I agree.
Jean-May Colette Serra is just not that kind of like huckster. He's just a great fucking filmmaker. And I think as his career goes on and on, I mean, I know he just made Jungle Cruise, which was good, and he's just good at making
something
movies.
right now. What is it?
I think he's going to continue to make good movies. Like he's just a good director. It always delivers.
He's a smart director.
Yeah.
There's something that he just signed on for, and it's bothering me, so I want to see what it is before we wrap this up.
I think my number 2, I want to defend my number. The ending, the CGI bothered me a lot.
Which part? Which CGI?
There was
the fire is rough.
There was a lot of things. Yeah, the fire was rough. The CGI, but it is 2009. I think we've just become so accustomed to really good CGI that at the time that was probably really good. And now watching it in the world we live in now with the CGI we have, I was like,
well, I definitely felt
me out of it a little bit at the end. Her face, the neck crack was very CGI'd, even though it was cool to see.
Well, I definitely noticed the fire. We have you guys still work on a fire show. I worked with you on
we do?
Fire show.
Fire
Yeah.
So, I mean, in the sense that we don't do fire anymore.
Oh,
yeah, barely.
Interesting.
We haven't seen a fire in a minute, so we wouldn't know what's good.
By the way,
it costs too much money.
Yes, I think you. I imagine that ABC learned the lesson from the 2 seasons that I was on. That fire is hard to do, guys. How
many fires a season do you get now? 2?
We had 2 this season? I think we had 2.
No, we had like 2 big ones, and then I think we've had I don't know, maybe a smattering of maybe 3 or 4. I feel like we had maybe 5 or 6 total tops.
Yeah, fire's hard. So it's complicated, it's dangerous, and when you watch the fire sequence in this film, which is the treehouse that catches on fire, Kenny was talking about the actor crying as he stands on top of this treehouse on fire. Some of it is real and some of it is CG, and unfortunately the difference is stark. And that's a 2009 thing, which is that when it does pop out to these wides where the fire is real, you're like, okay, and then when it pops in and the kid's just like clearly just like in some sort of a green screen situation or whatever. It's
But that's still an issue now. I think that's what we segued from on our show is we were doing real fire and then they tried, I think in season 3 to mix real fire and CGI fire. And now we just do CGI fire because the look between, I mean, it's still 12, whatever years later, that's mixing real and CGI just doesn't work.
No, for sure. Yeah. It's fire is fucking tough. I mean, Backdraft, I still don't know how they made that movie. It's just absolutely crazy.
Because all those guys just wanted to run into burning buildings. So they just lit shit on fire. And the guys are like,
burn it.
Let them do it. Yeah. I can see all those guys being like, yeah, it's real. Apocalypse Now style.
Fire is interesting.
Fire's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, Kenny?
Fire's interesting, but yeah,
I wouldn't necessarily believe fire was real if I didn't experience it. You know what I mean? Like fire.
Yeah, it's totally weird.
What the
it's
fuck?
very real.
It's very like I don't know, first time ever fire fire. Ooh.
Fire. Ooh,
fire?
Yeah, like cavemen. Right.
We're all
like cavemen. Yeah. Kenny's over here being like fire.
Think about how deeply weird that is. That there is this thing that has like the I can't even really explain it. Think about it. It's almost as weird as like
it feels supernatural.
Yes, but not as weird as the fact that like we are now talking over invisible airwaves.
Yes, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest shit that I don't know how we figured out. I'm so impressed with humanity.
Yeah,
what a great bunch we are.
I'm impressed by Barrett and Danielle, as always.
Love you two humans. Two of the best humans we've got.
Best in the biz.
Impressed by Phil and Kenny, right, Barrett?
That's nice.
I agree. Thank you guys. This was I gotta tell you, this was my favorite movie I think we've watched together.
I think it might be the best.
Bernie's wasn't your favorite movie, Barrett? How dare
It was Weekend
you?
at Bernie's 2 that was her favorite.
that's right.
She preferred the second one that was more culturally insensitive.
Valid.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the second one.
And I enjoyed Bats, but this is I think this is this might have been my favorite like watch, even though we
Great
didn't do it
flick.
together. Like I loved watching it. I'm loving this conversation.
This was a
And yeah,
blast.
so thank
you guys are the best. We cannot. So we're gonna do a Halloween episode together later this year on a horror film, another horror film from 2009 that we're gonna do live. So we're gonna get to see Danielle's face in real time as we watch
He's gonna
this.
be doing this the whole time.
We haven't figured
Wait,
out.
what are you guys doing?
Well, we haven't decided
With
which
you,
one yet.
obviously.
Oh, I'm doing it too.
What are
Yeah,
we
you're doing
doing?
it too.
Yes,
Think about
what
this
are
for the
we
first time
doing?
too, Barrett.
Oh, well, Phil, speaking of, you were just like, Danielle, you will get to see Danielle's face in real time, and Barrett's wearing a mask.
No. I just mean that this one will be scared, and you
Because I'll
will
be
obviously-
scared.
You'll
Oh,
just
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
gleefully
Yeah.
just like chuckling or doing whatever you do during horror
Yeah,
films.
no
But-
doubt.
Barrett
No,
will be
great.
screaming at me. She'll be like, yes, yes. Like, I feel
So
like
in
that's
terms of
very-
in terms of the horror movie, we haven't quite decided which one yet. There are several options. Surprisingly, we have a Saw movie, we have a Final Destination movie, we have a Paranormal
like those
Activity
ones.
movie. We've got a bunch of options.
Which
for
Paranormal Activity is it? Is it
the
3?
first one? The first one.
No, really?
Yeah.
We should do
Oh,
that.
The
gee.
first one is good.
That movie's amazing.
I've never seen any of. I've seen the Final Destination, but I have not seen.
And which Saw?
I think it's
Do
Saw
you know?
4 or 5. Kenny, which Saw is it?
I don't know, but I'm looking at. I'm trying to look at stuff right now. I mean, it's a pretty amazing year for horror, to be honest. Got a lot of great stuff. We even have the
all those are great options.
the time they tried to make a horror film out of Dorian Gray. Which
Maybe
people
not that one.
People seem to think that he's like a horror character.
He's
and
really not. He's just a narcissist. Um,
Shit.
which Saw is it?
I think we just.
Did we miss the
Sorry.
good Saws? I don't know the Saw movies at all.
Saw 6.
Oh wow, okay, so
oh.
it's deep in the room.
Feels pretty far along.
Is Tobin Bell still in that one?
Probably.
well,
I worked with
actually,
him on Boogeyman too.
actually, I don't
love
think
Tobin.
I don't think he is. Because, oh no, he is.
Oh no.
He is.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I think
I've worked with him
Paranormal
on
Activity, which I've
Boogeyman,
never
too.
seen, I hear is a good one.
Which one?
Which one?
Paranormal Activity, which I've never seen.
It's amazing.
You're gonna
It's
get
so
the
good.
biggest reactions.
But
out
it's
of
not.
me
But,
with
but
Paranormal
Phil,
Activity.
but Phil, you're
That scared
wrong.
the
It's
shit out of me.
2007.
The first one?
Yeah, we don't get one, and the second one's 2010.
I don't know why I thought we had a Paranormal Activity. Are
Third
you
one is
sure?
2011. I'm sure of it. I'm looking at it.
All
Are
right,
you
so I
sure the
guess it's not-
second?
All right, well then we're not doing Paranormal.
I actually
Activity.
went to look to see if one of my favorite horror movies of all time is in the year, and it's unfortunately it's 2008. But
Which movie is it?
The Strangers.
Oh,
Ah.
that's a good one.
That's
a good
like
one.
the
Excellent.
only. That's like the only horror movie.
Well,
my
you know what we
wife has
do have
watched,
is the
which
Human
weird.
Centipede.
No.
Human Centipede? That's where you draw the line, Kenny?
Yes.
Wow, we found it. It only took us 4.5 years, Kenny, but
Nope,
we found your
not-
line in the sand.
Not interested. Not interested in poop eating. Sorry. Pass.
Not interested eating. Well, there's a remake of The Last House on the Left,
I would do
Haunting in
that.
Connecticut.
Haunting in Connecticut is all right, actually.
Um,
I feel like I
House on the-
rewatched that recently.
Last House on the Left is the one with Chris Hemsworth, right?
I believe so.
Or
There
is
is
that's not
Antichrist.
Jennifer.
That would be tough to watch.
Antichrist is
Whoa.
Casper No, right?
Which one?
No.
No, it's Lars von Trier.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
Lars von
where
Trier.
you get to see a woman mutilate her genitals.
Get to.
Yeah,
What movie?
Antichrist.
Oh.
The Box.
Charlotte
Kenny's favorite film, The
Gainsbourg and-
Box.
I would do the box. Box is an
Box.
I've seen the box. Box is an
I've
F.
never
seen The Box.
seen the box.
It's an F cinema score.
That's the
Uh,
Cameron Diaz one, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's
yep.
it's Richard Kelly's like third movie, which is like super
Oh.
weird
Yep.
I had
because
so many audition stories about all these films, guys.
See, you
I
got,
mean,
you got to
2009
drop some
is-
knowledge.
the
You gotta
box is
drop some
very
tea.
the box is a very very bad movie. But Richard Kelly's a very interesting filmmaker to me. Just kind of like what happened there.
There's a lot. We got A Wrong Turn. We got There's a
Okay.
lot. There's a lot of
We got a
horror
lot of
films
stuff.
in. We got a lot of stuff. So we're gonna
Got us
find one.
excited about films that aren't actually in 2009.
It's gonna be great. We're gonna do a horror film. We're gonna do it live. It's
Can't
gonna be
wait.
awesome, and it'll be in October. But thank you so much for coming on, guys. This was a blast. I'm so thankful. I know this was a tough one to schedule because Danielle's about to globetrot and see beautiful parts of the world and and Barrett is in New York doing, I'm assuming, wonderful things too. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm sure it's great. We love you guys. Thank you so much for coming on.
Bye, guys.
Love you guys too.
Bye.
Podcast like it. You wanna